talking about moon rocks. I was asking NASA and Nelly for a couple of moon rocks, and that's what they look like. Pretzels with peanut butter in them. They come right from the moon, but I'll wait on that. Anyway, Valarie. Hello, Valarie.
Hello, hello. Thank you for having me this afternoon.
No, thank you for being here. And
You are
as
so
you
welcome.
recall, a few months ago, Valarie was on and gave us a great story about her husband's adventure on a road rally from Peking to Paris, I believe. Was that it?
That's exactly right.
And that took up most of the time. We didn't take up a lot of time on what we're going to try to talk about some more today, which is real estate, everything to do with real estate. Now, Valarie has been in the real estate business for a very long time, ever since she was like 12 years old, right, Valarie? So,
Exactly. Yes,
mhm.
that's very true. A little older than 12, but not much. Reverse the
No,
numbers since I was 21 actually.
yeah. And we used to work together many years ago, and I should say several years ago, okay? And
Yes.
uh, and learned a great deal. I think I have from Valarie over the years. But she has her own business right now, and has had for quite a while, and really specializes in everything from, well, even vacation homes, buying homes, selling homes, investment, the whole gambit of everything. And I thought it would be a really good time now, given that we're in this, well, weird overall COVID-19 situation, which, keeps us home more than we'd like to, but it also keeps us from interacting business wise more than we would like to. It keeps us from looking at new homes as much as we would like to, but it also makes us stop and think about what we're really doing and why we should really be doing it. So, from that point of view, I kind of want to attack a lot of these questions and just about everything that comes to mind when it comes to real estate. For instance, is this a good time to be looking to move if you're thinking of moving at all? Is it a good time to be looking at upgrading, or is it a good time to be downsizing? Is it a good time to be looking at different areas? Everything having to do with that conversation. So, whatever's on your mind to start with, go ahead, Valarie, and let me know what you think about any of those topics.
I think that it's definitely is a time to I've heard many people use the term pivot as far as from a business standpoint, but I think it's a time to pivot personally. There are many things that we all have just lived with day after day after day, be it our home or our office or our car or our work situation or our exercise routines, and all of those things are disrupted. Nothing is the same as it was. Our kids don't go to school every day. We've got people who all of a sudden found out that they're now having to teach their kids and stay home and try to do their work. We don't get to go to church. We can't get our hair cut. We can't get our nails done. Grocery stores aren't the same. We go into grocery stores, but the products we used to buy aren't there. I went into Marshall's after they were closed for 3 months, and the aisles are twice as wide, so there's half as many products are there. So the point is that nothing is the same. And it's a really good time to evaluate things. I know in my case, for example, I've been in the same office as you know, Jay. I've been in the same
Right.
office and where I am for 20, almost 25 years,
Wow.
and never, ever, ever thought that I would leave here. And I made the rent every single month by myself as a small, independent, female-owned business. I've operated 3, 4, 5 businesses out of this location. But now I'm sitting here thinking, well, is this really what I need to do? And I have some properties that we've maintained for a long time that we've kept for 10 to 12 years. And now we're thinking, is that really what we need to do? So I think that not only from a real estate standpoint, but from a personal standpoint, it's a good time to pivot. And with that then is deciding, do I need this big house? And do I want to be closer to my grandchildren? And now kind of like, what are the really important things in my life? And if I can't have the same routine as I used to have, what would I like it to look like? And if I can't have it back, when this whole thing started, I think you probably would agree, and many of your listeners probably would too, we thought it was going to be 3 months. For whatever reason, we thought it was going to be 3 months. The government thought it was going to be 3 months. The PPP program and the EIDL programs, all of those things. The PPP program was never based on the fact that we weren't going to be able to make our payroll for a year. It was based on 8 weeks, right?
Right.
And now here we are in this situation. I've used that PPP, and now what am I going to do because I don't have any more PPP money? But I can't open my business either. It's certainly what a lot of people are thinking. So if if your life can't be the same, it just is a good time to take a second look at things like, do I need this big house? What's important to me? Would I rather be with my family? Do I want to live in California anymore? And that's certainly, I've heard that question many times.
These questions come up a lot, but
that.
they don't have the immediacy that they do now.
That's right. I would have never thought about making some of the changes that I am now. For example, making my office rent. I paid my office rent every single month, and I've been an independent business owner. That's all I've done, and it never occurred to me to not have this office. Now I'm thinking, is that really what I need to do? By the way, I'm not planning on leaving my office, but the point is that things change, right? And if you're going to have to work at home and school your children, what does that mean? And as a grandparent, for example, are you interested in taking on some of those responsibilities because your children just can't work and school their children? And what role can you play? So a couple of things I'm seeing happen is the real estate market overall is really hot. It's really hot. As much as we all complain about California, everybody wants to live here. And
I know there was so much rumor about that the prices are going to fall out the bottom.
No,
and that didn't happen.
Not at all. It has not. Multiple offers on many, many, many properties. I've got a $450,000 home in Chino Hills that we sold with multiple offers. I've got a $950,000 house in Anaheim that we sold with multiple offers. And that is the reality of the marketplace. So people are realizing that the interest rates are low, and I think people think that we should take advantage of it. And I think a lot of people are concerned about the certainty going forward. A lot of people are concerned about what's going to happen with the election in the fall and other things that we see happening in not only just politics, but in our life. A lot of things have never affected us. They happened other places. That'll never happen to me. When I have a client who owns a couple of properties that I manage, and he's from China, and he was here in February staying in his home, and I said, well, how is this, virus doing? He said, oh, in Wuhan, it's really bad. It's really bad. And he got home and texted me and said, do you have masks? And I said, no. No, he said, well, you should have some. In so many words, he said, at your age, you really should have masks. So the point is, he shipped me masks from China. I thought, well, that's interesting. How nice of him, right? Oh, little did we know in February and March and even April the impact this was going to have on us. So the important thing is to take a look at that now and to
I think we're still coming to grips with what the impact is. I don't think we still have a clear picture of what it's doing to each and every one of us. I've always worked at home. I love to get out. I drive all over California. I can't do that. So that's a change for me. But other than that, I'm used to working out of the house, but I'm also used to working face to face with a lot of people. So that is different, but it's not probably nearly as different as many of the people you're speaking about.
And there, I think that we all have. In fact, I'm writing a book, and I wrote a chapter on this. The emotions that we felt when this started. For me, for example, I was angry because we managed vacation rental properties, and we had people that sat here and canceled their spring break trips and wanted full refunds. I thought, the audacity of those people. If they expect full refunds, after all, they made a reservation, and our policy says that they don't get a refund if they cancel within 60 days, and they're coming next week and they want a refund. And I sat here in my office for weeks refunding people. I probably have processed almost 300 refunds of people who planned on coming to Southern California and or Disneyland. So my first reaction is I was angry. How dare them? They expect us to break the rules just because they've changed their mind. Well, little did I know then the impact. People who leave Canada, if they go home, they're on quarantine for 2 weeks. So then they can't go back to work. So what's their interest in coming here for a vacation if when they go back home, they're in quarantine for 2 weeks, they can't go back to work, and then if they test positive, who knows what's going to happen? Right. And then we had travel banned between Europe and here. So first I was angry. Then I thought, maybe there is something to this. And then the politics started getting involved. And now I'm starting to feel sorry for people when they cancel because they're saying to me, we want to come, but we need that money back. We've lost our jobs. We'd love to come to Disneyland, but Disneyland's not opening, and we need our money back.
And besides, Disneyland's expensive, as you know, and every little thing. People need to pay their rent. They're not paying their rent. The landlords need to pay their house payments. It goes right up the ladder, right up and down the ladder. Everybody is involved. So
exactly. So I'm certainly, preaching to the choir here. I'm sure everybody on this call is having their own issues and dealing with their families in their own way. And then if you've got someone that goes to the hospital, if they're being reminded to think about it a little bit, we're not giving complete answers. We're just making sure that people are actually thinking about how it really is affecting them today, even if they haven't come to grips with it completely, and then what to do as the future rolls on. Exactly. So let's say, for example, that you have a loved one who's in a nursing home or someone who's got some potential of illness, and if they had to go to the hospital, you couldn't see them. What could you do to prepare yourself for that? And those are things
I was
never
in the
thought
hospital
about.
for 3 weeks, lately. Well, and no 2 weeks in, 1 week out, and then no 2 weeks in, 2 weeks out, and then a week in. No visitors. That's crazy.
And so for those people, for example, at my age, I'm considered high risk. So I wanted to volunteer for an event in one of the cities here, and I wasn't allowed because I was over 55. And I was hurt by that. So do we need to make some decisions that if, for example, if this was a time that you could get a reverse mortgage, for example, and you never thought you needed it, should you think ahead and should you pivot again and prepare for those things? What if
almost
someone
nobody
put in
ever
a nursing
thinks
home
they need a
and you
reverse
couldn't
mortgage.
take care? Yeah,
That's
I know,
the time that you want to, because like I've said, a reverse mortgage doesn't mean you're taking money out of your house and giving it to you. It means you're making it liquid. And that gives you so much more choices and so much more peace of mind. And even if I got a friend who just called back east, he said the prices were plummeting. I'm not sure if that's true where he's at or not. But if prices are going down, what better way to hedge against that than have a reverse mortgage with a line of credit, which is increasing, even if your value is going down. So you always have the protection that you had when you first started, and it continues to grow. So, even if you don't know, and I don't think anybody knows exactly what they want to do. I know I don't. But if the more choices you have, the more comfortable you are making those choices.
Right. If the stock market goes down, that's cash you lose. You can't get that back the next day.
Right.
But if you think that you want to hedge yourself or you want to have protection, then, and we're just using this as an example, reverse mortgage is certainly one thing to do. So, for example, some of my colleagues invest in what's called Delaware Statutory Trust, a DST. Instead of a 1031, you invest in a DST. And you would think that that should generate cash because it's supposed to. But those entities, some of those stopped paying. They just notified the people, we're not going to pay you for the next several months. So what can you do to make sure that you're protected? What if your family member can't go back to work? What if their income is interrupted? What if your kids need money for something and you want to help them? These are things we have to make decisions and think about things that we didn't think we would need.
Absolutely. And, like we've been talking for many years that if you do have a portfolio, not like mine just has pictures in it, but, if you're living off your portfolio or your investments, you have a bad year, don't sell. Don't change everything to cash because you're going to end up losing a lot. Take some cash-free money from your equity and then pay it back when you need to. And just keep on chugging away. But that gives you the choices.
Yes. And wouldn't we all much rather have choices than be in situations where we don't have a choice? And we're hopeless
no choice
and
is like
don't know
back
what to
into
do.
a corner, like a trapped animal. That you don't want. That's the last thing you want.
No. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So that certainly would be my advice. And one other bit of advice I'd like to give everyone today is we all need to have ID protection. And I'm seeing a lot of fraud right now. And I guess no good crisis goes unused or something like that. Well,
exactly.
All
it comes
kinds of
out of the
scams,
woodwork.
Yep. And one of my clients is a respected attorney, has a great business. And I said, you need to take care of this. And he said, you mean those commercials I hear on the radio, or people really do that? And I say, yes, they do. So there's a couple of companies we can recommend. LifeLock is one, although there's another company that I think does a little bit better job than that. But the other thing
Valarie, your picture is on the screen, and your site address is there too. But for those people who aren't watching right now, before we go much further, why don't you give out all of your contact information, because I'm sure people are going to want to continue this conversation. This is kind of a general conversation, but I think it opens up lots of doorways.
Well, I can be reached on I have a couple of ways. The easy way is my cell phone, which is 714 area code 334-9156. Let me repeat it. It's 714-334-9156. You can also reach me you can call me, or you can text me, or email me. My email is Valarie, VALERIE, @ValarieV.com. My last name is Van de Zilver, starting with a V. So my email is Valarie @ValarieV.com. And I would love to help anyone who has any questions about any of these issues. Of no obligation, of course, but this is a time when we need to reach out to each other and lean on someone who we trust to help us, because there are plenty of people out there wanting to give you information that you shouldn't be trusting.
Yeah, this is a good time to have these kinds of discussions. The more, the better, really. And I really like your key point when you said pivot. Because you have to ask yourself, okay, what if things are going to change forever? What if they're not? What if they will go back? Did you still want to pivot anyway? I mean, those are things I'm thinking of. Because these are like little stepping stone periods of time where you can't just keep sliding. You have to actually stop and make a decision.
Right. And, a lot of us have lived in homes that we either were too big, we didn't need them, or we wanted to be closer to family members in other states, or, I would love to live out of state where the cost of living is less expensive. Any of those things, now is a good time to do it, because we don't know if things will ever come back to normal, and we don't know what the new normal will be.
That's for sure. Somebody like me, I never knew what normal was, but I mean,
well, listen, you remember we worked together, so that's two of us.
But we are happy to see that prices are holding their own. Real estate is really selling. So if in fact you are thinking of selling, don't put this out of your mind because of this COVID thing. It's not slowing it down at all. But, again, you have to make those choices. What do you want to happen? And where do you want to be situated, both mentally and physically, when things get back to whatever the new normal is going to be? And you have to start thinking about that now.
Excuse me. There's another thing to think about is some people don't want to sell their homes because they don't want people walking in their house. They want their homes to be protected. They want to be sure that no one's bringing the virus into their home.
Right.
And that certainly is a very valid concern. So we have taken immediate and drastic steps to protect people. We don't have regular open houses. We don't let anyone come into the home unless they have been pre-qualified. No looky-loos anymore. That is a thing of the past. And when guests come into a home, they have to wear booties and gloves and masks. They have to have a pre-approval letter, not just a pre-qual, but a pre-approval letter, and they sign a form that says that they realize they're taking responsibility for coming into your home. They don't touch anything before anyone comes into the home. We go through the house with our own gloves on. We open doors, turn on lights so that nobody touches anything in a home anymore. And only 2 people are allowed in a home at a time. And everything's by appointment only.
Good.
So for anyone who's concerned that they don't want strangers walking through their home and bringing that into their home, we certainly take some serious steps to protect the seller as much as possible.
We should. As we all should. It's too bad we don't have quicker testing, but they made me take because I'm going back to the hospital Monday just to get, those hardware out of me. And they insisted I had a COVID-19 test before I did that. So I went Tuesday. I was expecting this thing about 6 feet long to go up my nose, but there was nothing to it, really. Nothing at all. And I'm clean for now.
Well, good.
So there. And besides, I scrubbed the microphone here, too, so nobody listening is in trouble.
Well, that's good.
But, it's been a pleasure. Time is going by, and it's always a pleasure talking to you. And you always bring up things that we really, really need to talk about. And we haven't even scratched the real surface of a lot of these things. So hopefully we'll do this again very, very soon. And, we're planning on doing some other things together also, which we'll be starting to do. I got a little behind because of my situation, but, so be it. That's outside of the COVID-19 realm, but so be it. But we all have these little things that come out of left field and hit you that you're not ready for. But I guess, in a way, I hate to say blessing, but in a way, we've been given an opportunity to stop and really consider what we really, really want in life and what we really may or may not want to pivot on. And whether you want to look at that as an opportunity or whatever, it's there, and we have to take it seriously.
Yes, we have to take this situation very seriously for a lot of reasons.
And go ahead and give we're going to have you back again soon. But in the meantime, go ahead and give your contact information again. I really appreciate it. I think we've had a great conversation. I hope everybody has enjoyed it like I have. But go ahead and give your contact information. We got about 30 seconds to go.
Great. So it's 714 area code 334-9156. And my name is Valarie. So 714-334-9156. Thank you so much for having me, and thanks everyone for listening.
Thank you. It's been a real pleasure, and I have really, really enjoyed it. And I'm sure that all the listeners have too. And thank you too, Sean, and everybody out there. Really, really appreciate it. Stay safe and have a great week. Bye-bye.